Mm-hmm.
So when you speak, you'll just say the name of J, but press the red button and start. And when you're done 15 minutes, just press the red button. Okay.
We all want to hear her story.
The mic is right up.
He's just hardwired that way.
Hello, all. My name is Louise J. And there's a reason why my story is not really put out here a lot. Because I choose to not to do that. So where I'm at, I stays in the back and watches. Oh goodness, here I go. I'm scared to death up here. God got me and my people have me and you guys. So thank you, Sharice, for offering. It was only God when this young lady asked me to come and speak here, and I was right off the bat, yes. Walked away and said, "Oh Lord, what did I just do?" Oh my God. Oh goodness. I came in here, not here, but 11 years ago. Ooh, I was so lost, didn't have no hope. Oh, as a child, I was from a family, my parents were both alcoholics. At 12 years old, my dad, he was drunk himself, told me that I was adopted. And my adopted sister, we both was adopted. So that environment started then. I was with my mom and dad. They had a foster home, and I was just one of the children that was there. Ended up staying. They adopted me when I was 12 years old. They got me from the hospital when I was 6 weeks. Me and my sister, adopted sister. They went to get one, and they ended up bringing both of us home. So with that, it was a lot of children in and out the home. I never, after I found that out, I never questioned anybody who was my real parents, not one time. Got older, I lost my sister when that was the only person that I tried to connect with all the madness with my mom. My mom didn't start drinking until I was 18, 19, due to her mental and abuse my dad gave to her. My sister, we was like 6 weeks apart. I was May 12th, 65. She was June 29th, 65. She was the only person within that family that I really had a connection with and didn't have a connection because she was doing her own thing. We lost her when she was 17 to the Green River killing. That just, I think I started spiraling, just doing whatever due to that. After that, I didn't get to graduate because I started drinking myself at 17. My dad was gone then, but he would come back, and then my mom started sipping here, and next thing I know, my mom was drinking, but she was one of them quiet drinkers. She'll get tipsy, and next thing you know, she'll fall asleep. And that's when I come in sneaking her drink, but she didn't drink. I would finish it. 17, 18, went to school drunk. I was senior year, 3 months before I graduated, and I got kicked out because I went to school drunk and passed out. They took me to the hospital. It was alcohol overdose. That was my first time ever drinking. And with that, got kicked out of school, and my dad joked around. He had to come get me from a detox center. He said he'd been drinking 35 years and he ain't never went to a detox center. He had to come get me from the detox center. That was just, okay. Didn't finish school. Oh, Lord. Started talking with the first man that said hi to me. Started a relationship with him. That was during the time I was still drinking, but my choice of drug was alcohol. I did alcohol. At that time, cocaine was out and about then. Started doing that just because it was around and the people I was around, I started doing it. At 20, my mom, the only person like I said, it was my sister and my mom. She was an older woman. I used to go to school. People used to think my mom was my grandma. I didn't know my mom was literally that old until I got at the age. Um, she had a stroke. I was 20. I just had my first child, 8 years old, still drugging. No, I started really, really drinking and drugging at 21. My mom had a stroke when I was 20. I just lost it because, my mind still was a child at 21 because I was still at home, 18, 19, 20, still at home. I felt like I never had to leave home because my mama, and I wouldn't have had to if she didn't get sick. I tell everybody to this day I'd probably be still with my mom. No, I wouldn't because Mama B passed away because she was an older woman. But I was just that mindful, that person that just didn't grow up as I should have been in my mind. So at 21, she had a stroke. Then the guy I was messing with, it just, that relationship lasted 22 years and it was so mentally draining, abusive, physical and mentally. And I had 2 kids in that relationship. And it was just, oh my God, mine. It was just ugly, ugly, ugly. So then running from that relationship, went to another relationship thinking that was going to be, and in my mind, it was better because it was a dope man. So all this time, I was in the first relationship, I had to struggle, pay for my drugs, keep the house up, and pay for my kid's dad's drugs. So I'm keeping up everything, struggling. I'm struggling, but I did it. It got so abusive, had to leave my own home due to this man in my house, and I got tired of that. So met this other person, and he just lurked around. He just used us to sell his dope from the house, but it was free dope. So hey, the kid's dad, he didn't. It was all good. It was just a mess. Oh God, it was a mess. So I went into another relationship. It got even worse, but I'm thinking it was all good because I didn't have to pay no bills. Everything was free, not realizing what I was about to get into. So this was 8 years of drinking, drugging. It just was off the top. The oldest one was already out the home. I had my youngest, she was a teenager, like 14, 15. He had his child. Within that 8 years, I had so many arrests. Twice a year, I was going to jail due to delivery, and half the time was driving and not having license. So I went to jail a lot during that time. Oh my goodness, it was just so overwhelming. So it was 8 years of that. Then how I got into his house, he brought me in there with another woman, and she left out. After that relationship, well, that's how I got into that relationship. And then once it ended how I got in. He brought somebody else in and then kicked me out. Then I was so lost. I didn't have a dime. I didn't have a dime. Out of all these years, I never thought about saving any money. It was all about getting high and drinking. But this is where this person wanted me to be at that time, so I can do what he wanted me to do. And I didn't realize that until after like 4 or 5 years of the relationship. Then once my stay was terminated, and he brought somebody else in, younger, I was fucked up. My kids was gone. And in this relationship, the second relation, I had 2 kids that I ended up giving up because the drug and alcohol. I can tell my kids and say it out loud. I chose drugs and alcohol over my children, the first two children and the last two children. I literally chose the drug, not the man, it was the drug at that time, over my two girls. I adopted them out. When I had them, I adopted them out right there in the hospital. And where my mind was, where I had to go back to, I could not have, I wasn't trying to do that. I was not trying to have two other kids. I mean, first, the first one, not by him, and then the second one, again, by him. Nope. After that madness, he put me out, as I said before, and then, shit, I was messed up. I didn't have a damn thing. Then I had to figure out. I says to myself, and I joke around to my friends, I couldn't be an alcoholic old hoe out here trying to hustle, getting my drugs like I seen a lot of my peers did. I was too old for that shit. Mm-hmm. So I had to figure out something, what to do, and I did not have a clue what to do at that time. And that last relationship, I ended up pushing everybody away that was close to me, and I couldn't go back to them. I only had one person to go to anyway, and I couldn't go back there. So I had to figure out some things. So I made a decision. Now, my decision was not to stop drinking or drugging at that time. And that's amazing because that's what got me into all this madness. My thing was, what am I going to do? I needed somewhere to go. So I went to a family member's house, went out there and acted a fool as well. Yeah, she told me I had to leave from out there because I acted a fool, still drinking, drugging. I ain't gonna tell you everything else I was doing, but just imagine. Went out there, then I had to go into a shelter, a DV shelter. Went out there and got some clarity. I literally went out there and got some clarity and a peace of mind. Still was not thinking about stopping drinking. My whole mind was, I need to do what I had to do to find some housing. Again, like I said, was not thinking about alcohol. When I went out to my family house, still drinking and drugging. When I went to the domestic violence shelter, still drinking, not drugging, but drinking. I went to this other shelter and I had to stop drinking and drugging because they did all the works. Again, not even thinking about AA. None of this was in my mind. So they had conditions to stay in this one place, and I had to do AA meetings. I had to do counseling, and they did random UAs. So, damn, that messed me up because I was not planning to stop my drinking. Okay, go in here. I set my mind to can't drink and drug in here. So I was focused. So started doing AA meetings downtown Seattle, all over. That was the conditions of what I had to do. 2012, that's when I moved into that housing opportunity. On February 19th, I moved into there, and that was my last time drinking. Now, still ain't thinking about no damn AA. I was doing everything I needed to do. I did AA meetings 2 to 3 times a week. Then I went to, and that was just the only reason I was doing that, just because I had to stay in this place. But I went to this one hall, and I'm getting the concept of AA. I'm hearing all this, but still, I'm doing what I got to do to get my housing. I ain't trying to do all this. But I wasn't thinking about drinking and drugging at the time. That wasn't on my mind. I was focused on doing what I needed to do to stay in this place. Then I went to this one hall, 1504, Seattle. I went to a meeting. It was a Monday meeting, and I met some women in there, and I was like, wow, I knew one of them, and we got to talking, and she was saying, come back here at this time. I chair here, and I started coming back to that one meeting, and then they closed it down. Then I started meeting people. Then I started coming to like on Fridays. This started 1504. I started coming on Fridays. And then I started going over, once they shut this hall down, the building got shut down, I started going over to, now this is like 2 years within my sobriety. Now I got some clean time. And then I started going over to another building. And then I'm starting to meet some women. Now this, by now, I ain't on no, I'm in my own place now. I'm doing this on my own now. I'm starting to meet people. And I was like, wow, I like this. So I started interacting with some women. They started talking with me about getting a sponsor. I'm still, no, I don't need all that. Now, 2, 3 years go by. I got some clean time. I'm still 3, 4. Still going to AA meetings. I met some more, meeting more people. I'm still thinking I got this, because I'm starting to have the faith. I got the faith now. I got this. I don't need. I felt like I didn't need AA. I had God. He had me. He got me through this far, and I'm like, wow, I got this. The more I start meeting women and even the men's, they started telling me. Somebody said something like a dry drunk. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm sober. I'm good. And then I asked somebody else, what did it mean? And they explained it to me. And I was like, oh, damn. But my life was hectic. I'm going to school, I'm working, and my relationship with my daughters. And then I met my 2 younger children, they were still unbalanced. I needed something else. And listening to these ladies and men that was telling me, you need to start first get a sponsor. You need to start doing some step work. I'm still thinking I got this. I say now I got like 4 years in, 5, 6. I'm still dealing with the meetings. I'm going to meetings, and I finally went to a women's retreat, and I met this woman before, but I met her, talked with her, and I end up asking her would she sponsor me. I'm gonna tell you something. When I started these steps and really taking some suggestions and stepping back and like giving it to God and stop thinking I've never had control over my life as I can remember. And now I'm sober and I can dictate my life. I got excited. I got this, but I didn't have it. I needed something else, which was AA in my life. So I started doing the step work, and oh my goodness, I'm seeing a change in my life by working the steps. Now I'm gonna tell you, I ain't gonna lie, I've been through the steps. I'm going through it again. Me, I go in hard, and then I step back, still in my head. I step back like I got this, but I don't, and I have to have a little reminder. Somebody got to poke me. Get your butt back after you. This is my sponsor. Come on back up in here. Come on now. Come on. And this AA thing has changed my life. It has brought a little manageability in my life. And I'm going to say this, AA saved my life. I would not know where I would be at. I connect with the AA women's. That's the biggest thing I have is the AA women. If I don't go to an AA meeting, I keep contact with these women. These women is so powerful, and I look at them and always says, "Ooh, I want to be like them. I want to be like them when I grow up," because I still ain't grown up. But when it comes to this AA, I'm going to continue doing this because I need it in my personal life, in my workforce. I need it. I just need AA, and I don't know what I would. I wouldn't. I know I wouldn't be here. I would not be here if it wasn't for AA. And I thank all the women that supports me, and they continue to, just like, I don't know, it's just, I'm still here. And it's going on 11 years, it's 11 years this month, and I'm still here.
Good, good.
Yeah, thank you for letting me.